The National Commissioner of SAPS, General Fannie Masemola, is leading a drug destruction process today in Olifantsfontein and happens in Pretoria. This is in which more than 400 million rand worth of drugs will be destroyed. Here's SABC News reporter Chriselda, who's in Olifantsfontein for us and joins us now for a live update. So Chriselda, take us through what is expected to happen.
Well, Mkolisi, as you correctly pointed out, the National Police Commissioner, General Fannie Masemola, will be leading this drug destruction process. And you correctly pointed out that's worth more than 400 million rand. So likely also to be the center of attention is questions, that we are going to pose to him, seemingly about what's continuing within the South African Police Service. There is a legal battle that is looming between General Shadrack Sibiya and himself. Recall that Sibiya was instructed to stay at home after the allegations by the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, implicating Sibiya and what could be described as a capture of some sorts, I guess, if I could put it that way, in the South African Police Service. So this past Tuesday, you'd know that in court papers filed by Sibiya in the High Court in Pretoria, Sibiya says Masemola basically violated SAPS's disciplinary rules by forcing him to stay at home pending this investigation. So essentially, Sibiya is challenging his suspension of being told to stay at home and wants the court to set that aside. We also heard yesterday that the Madlanga inquiry, of course named after the retired Constitutional Court Judge Mbuyiseni Madlanga, established by President Cyril Ramaphosa to probe these allegations that Mkhwanazi made, will begin on the 1st of September in Pretoria. So those hearings will be open to the public at the Bridget Mabandla Justice College over the next 6 months. You'd recall in the wake of those allegations, or even after those allegations, the South African Police Service was adamant that work is continuing. Today they're having a destruction of these drugs worth over 400 million rand. But of course there are lingering issues inside the South African Police Service, which of course media would want to ask questions about, including these papers that have been filed by Sibiya just on Tuesday in the High Court in Pretoria. He wants to go back to work. He feels that the process that was followed to get him to stay at home was flawed and was done unprocedurally. Those are some of the questions that we'll certainly be posing to him on the sidelines of the destruction of these drugs.
Certainly looking forward to that. Now, Chriselda, 400 million rands worth of drugs, that's, a huge amount. What do we know about the origin of these drugs? Were they taken from the various provinces and brought to one central place where they will then be destroyed?
Look, I know very little about that at this stage. We'll certainly get those details from the National Police Commissioner. Where I'm standing right now is where the press briefing is scheduled to get underway. We'll get details about whether these are drugs from various provinces, certain busts that had taken place, obviously taken off South Africa's streets, but the chunk of that would be very interesting to hear. The chunk of that perhaps coming from where? Those are the details that will be made clear once this press briefing gets underway. But it's quite a sizable amount in terms of drugs that have been taken off South Africa's streets. Details pertaining to that, the National Police Commissioner will give us in just a few minutes. We'll take that live here on SABC News.